On the news tonight, after 12-hour marathon judgment affirming his victory, President Tinubu urges Obi and Atiku to support his government. Peter Obi Atiku Abubakar rejects presidential tribunal verdict set to appeal judgment. And mixed reactions trail President Tinubu's performance as he clocks 100 days in office. Glad to have you join us on News Now. I am Mary Kanu. It's been less than 24 hours after the presidential election petitions court delivered its 12-hour marathon judgment, throwing out the petitions of the Allied People's Movement, the petitions of the People's Democratic Party and its flag bearer Atiku Abubakar, as well as the petitions of the Labour Party and its presidential candidate Peter Obi. The five-man panel, led by Justice Haruna Samani, not only dismissed the consolidated petitions of the PDP, the APM and the LP, but it also clearly affirmed the victory of Tinubu, a former governor of Lagos State, in the presidential poll. Reacting to the judgments, President Bola Tinubu has called on his main rivals to support his administration. This next report gives a rundown of the court proceedings leading up to the final judgment. On Wednesday, lawyers, senior advocates and journalists tripped into the Court of Appeal headquarters in Abuja, where the presidential election petition court was expected to hand down its ruling on the February 25 elections that produced Bola Tinubu as president. The opposition People's Democratic Party, the Labour Party and Allied People's Movement challenged the election results, anchoring their petitions on, among other claims, that Tinubu was not qualified to contest the election, citing discrepancies in his academic records and previous judicial indictment. After months of sitting, the judgment day is finally here as the five-man panel are here to deliver their ruling. Proceedings began with a petition filed by the Allied People's Movement, which sought to nullify Tinubu's elections as incompetent. In this ruling, Justice Haruna Samani said the petition lacked merit. After a 15-minute recess, the court resumed sitting with the petitions filed by the Labour Party and its candidate Peter Obi, with the arguments and counter-arguments on the 25% votes needed from the Federal Capital Territory to meet the constitutional requirement to be declared president. The court clarifies that the FCT residents have no special privileges, as the petitioners claimed.
The petitioners have alleged in paragraph 28 to 32 of the petition that the second respondent was fined $460,000 for an offense involving dishonesty, namely narcotics trafficking. And in response to this allegation, the second and third respondents have denied same in paragraph 46 to 53 of their reply, and specifically pleaded those documents in paragraph 52 of their reply to the petition to show that the second respondent enjoyed an unrestricted right of ingress and egress to the United States of America, and up till now, he still enjoys an unimpeded right of access to the United States of America. It is therefore our considered view that Exhibit RA 11 and RA 16 are relevant to these proceedings. It is no objection to them hereby discountenance.
Despite controversy trailing Tinubu's alleged conviction for money laundering in the United States, the court ruled that no record of criminal arrest and conviction were established against him by the petitioners.
On the petitioner contention that Exhibit RA 19, the report of the committee on the location of the Federal Capital Nigeria, is not relevant, we have examined the pleadings and the said exhibit. It is apparent to us that while the petitioners have averred in paragraph 81 of the petition that a presidential candidate must score 25% of the votes in FCT before he can be declared and return elected, the second and third respondents have averred in paragraph 86 of their reply that the FCT does not enjoy a special status over the other states of the Federation, and that Abuja is still inhabited by Nigerians who are deemed equal to Nigerians in any other part of Nigeria, and residents of Abuja are not conferred with any privilege and advantage that is not accorded to citizens of other communities or states in Nigeria. We are therefore of the view that facts have been pleaded which rendered Exhibit RA 19 relevant and admissible.
The court, in its judgment, dismissed all petitions filed by Peter Obi and the Labour Party, saying the petitioner was unable to prove any of the three grounds upon which the petition was anchored. 7 hours and 2 petition dismissals later, the court begins judgment on the People's Democratic Party and its flag bearer Atiku Abubakar's petition. Justice Samani ruled that Atiku and his party failed to prove that the conduct of the February 25 elections did not comply with the provisions of the 2022 Electoral Act.
Encourage the use of technology to enhance election management, to enhance transparency, to enhance accountability, so that Nigerians will believe in democracy. Nigerians will come out in their masses like they did to vote. We don't want Nigerians to be discouraged in the process. There are certain things, certain principles of law that we know that we need to explore, and we strongly believe that when we get to the Supreme Court will have the opportunity to review a number of things that have been said here today. So we have the instructions of our clients as soon as possible to go to the Supreme Court.
Reacting to this ruling affirming his victory, President Bola Tinubu has called on Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar to support his government. Mary Kanu, TV360, Nigeria. In Abuja, where the court proceedings were held, residents have called on Nigerians to accept the court judgment upholding President Bola Tinubu's victory at the February 25 elections in good faith. Convener of a pro-democracy group, the Coalition for Good Governance and Change Initiative, made the call during a roadshow to celebrate the victory of the All Progressives Congress. Speaking on the outcome of the case, Ogain urged the opposition parties to shift their swords in the best interest of the nation.
The judgment has put to rest all speculations against the president, because this is the first time in the history of Nigeria that we are making progress in the face of adversity. You are aware that subsidy was removed at the eve of President Tinubu's inauguration. So he assumed office with a lot of deficits and unhealthy responsibilities. Today, we are adjusting to all the hardship, and he has also set up measures to curb our hardship forever.
It shows that there is a high level of confidence in our judiciary, and we believe strongly that the judiciary will do justice to the matter before it. And no one should be dismayed under sentiment. Judiciary will only dispense what is brought before it, and they are not meant to manufacture evidence for anybody.
Meanwhile, in Lagos State, where President Tinubu served as governor for 8 years, residents have also reacted to the verdict by the tribunal, saying they are happy with the outcome of the judgment, which they described as fair and transparent, and have also urged Nigerians to be patient with President Tinubu, who they believe has the capacity to improve the country.
The judgment is fair because where there is election, and we all saw what happened during the election period, and we know this happened. So in going for judgment, it's like they are setting us back. And with what happened yesterday, I think there will be peace now. At least as I see our present president, I know it will change many things for the masses. I know it will make everybody to enjoy. But you know, if we want to do something good, it comes with bitter. So I'm sure very soon we will all live to enjoy it.
It was very fair, and that's the beauty of democracy. When you are talking about 25%, the present president, President Bola Tinubu has 25% vote in some of the states. If you are not talking about FCT is a territory. It's a territory, it's not a state. You understand what I mean? So you can as well count FCT as 37, we have 36 plus FCT, that's 37 states. So if you have 25% and you don't have an FCT, what does that mean? What's so special about FCT? You will agree with me that Lagos State happened to be the capital before it was now taken to Abuja. So what's so special about Abuja? He lost in Lagos State. Nobody is contesting that. Why must you not pay emphasis on Abuja, FCT? And it's a territory. Remember, the word is territory. So it's not even a state.
Still on the tribunal, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and the Labour Party have both rejected the verdict of the Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal, which affirmed Bola Tinubu's victory in the February 2023 elections. The Labour Party spokesman Obiora Ifo, in a statement, said the judgment did not reflect the law and desire of the people. On his part, former Vice President and Presidential Flag Bearer of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, who spoke at a press conference, said the tribunal judgment failed to restore confidence, adding that he was not new to legal battles and would continue to explore the judiciary for respite.
Spell hopelessness and despair since the pronouncement of the judgment yesterday. Lawyers, politicians, and other relevant stakeholders from all divides were also left more confused and frightened, as both law and facts were visibly thrown overboard. However, as law-abiding political party, we received the judgment with shock along with other Nigeria and friends of Nigeria. We must not, withstanding the burden of cost and general inconvenience, these issues must be settled.
That the judgment of the court as rendered by the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal yesterday failed to restore confidence in our dreams of free and fair elections devoid of human manipulations. Gentlemen of the press, I take great pains to tell you that the decision of the Court of First Instance on this matter utterly fails far short of expectation. I am therefore here to tell you that though the judgment of the court yesterday is respected, it is a judgment that I refuse to accept. I refuse to accept the judgment because I believe that it is bereft of substantial justice. Consequently, I have asked my lawyers to activate my constitutionally guaranteed rights of appeal to the higher court, which in the instance is the Supreme Court of Nigeria.
For more insight on the judgment delivered by the tribunal, earlier I spoke to legal expert Evan Tufeli. I began by asking him what his thoughts were on the tribunal, saying the petitions brought forward by the opposition parties were based on generic allegations.
The opposition didn't have concrete evidence to ground their claim or to prove their case effectively. It was just based on generic allegations. So one of the allegations were that the votes of the LP candidate was taken away and given to that of the APC. That is what they said that INEC did and all that. But the court went further to ask for particulars to that effect. That if you say so, fine, how many votes did you score? How many was taken away from the APC candidate? And how many did they give to that of the LP and all that? There were no particulars whatsoever. And you expect the court to rely on that's oral testimony without proof or evidence to ground the claim. But the court does not work like that. The court is not a church. The court will never rely on the sentiments of parties, okay, in order to reach a decision. The court will not look at what is in the newspaper, the blogs, or the social media handles of individuals to grant a decision. The court will look at the evidence before it.
Well, so both the People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party have said they will appeal the verdict of the tribunal. Do you think they stand a chance of victory at the Supreme Court?
We cannot preempt the outcome of the case at the Supreme Court level. But what we can talk about is that it is their right to appeal the case. Definitely their right to do so. That option is open to them because by the basis of jurisprudence, it is open to them in the event that the Court of Appeal erred in law. If the Court of Appeal erred in law, then the Supreme Court will correct the error. That is the idea or the rationale behind that. So that at the end of the day, what you have is the true form of justice in the case under reference. There is no way a case like this will not go to the Supreme Court because it is sensitive. It is one that is highly participatory. The followers and supporters of both sides are largely far-reaching across the country, and the issues for which the Court of Appeal have dissected are issues that are controversial. Many of them are controversial. So you expect that the adverse party or the party who lost at the Court of First Instance will go to appeal. And when they go to appeal, our jurisprudence is further entrenched, enriched, and then it opens up the scope. One of the areas that I have reservation for in the judgment was the area where they talk about the witness statement on oath of subpoenaed witnesses ought to have been front-loaded. That is the court calling on the impossible. That couldn't have happened because subpoena means you are forcing a party to court. So how would you have gotten his witness statement on oath when you forced him to come to court? So beforehand. So I think that is the only area of the judgment that I find that is not very coercive.
Well, that was legal expert Evans Ufeli reacting to the judgment by the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal upholding the victory of Bola Tinubu as president. Well, away from the tribunal, the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, says Nigeria has lost $100 billion to the decade-long conflict in the country's northeast region. In a report released by the Child Rights Agency, it said Nigeria lost the money between 2008 and 2021. While noting the impact of conflicts, the agency said the northeast crisis has implications beyond Nigeria's shores. It said the scarring effect of the drawn-out conflict may inhibit the economy from achieving its full potential, putting the nation's future prosperity in jeopardy. But we'll take a break here, but still to come, Gabon and Central Region agreed to draft a roadmap for return to democracy. Details of this and more when we return. Join us again. Welcome back. A recap now of our top stories. Just after the presidential election petitions court delivered its 12-hour marathon judgment, throwing out the petitions of the Allied People's Movement, the petitions of the People's Democratic Party and its flag bearer Atiku Abubakar, as well as the petitions of the Labour Party and its presidential candidate Peter Obi. President Bola Tinubu has called on his main rivals to support his administration. The five-man panel led by Justice Haruna Samani not only dismissed the consolidated petitions of the PDP, the APM and the LP, but it also clearly affirmed the victory of Tinubu, a former governor of Lagos State, in the presidential poll. We also told you that the People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party have both rejected the verdict of the Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal, which affirmed Bola Tinubu's victory in the February 2023 elections. The Labour Party spokesman Obiora Ifo, in a statement, said the judgment did not reflect the law and desire of the people, while presidential flag bearer of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, who spoke at a press conference, said the tribunal judgment failed to restore confidence. Well, in case you missed any of the news bulletin or for more updates, you can catch us on Limex TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
And wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the Go-To app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other Paper Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
Welcome back. It's time for business news and stock market report with Simisola Adigun. Simisola, over to you.
Thank you very much, Mary. Welcome to Business News. At the Africa Climate Summit held in Kenya, President Bola Tinubu's energy transition plan calls for an annual investment of $10 billion. Additionally, he emphasized that Nigeria needs an annual investment of $17.7 billion to achieve the unconditional targets outlined in the country's nationally determined contributions, NDCs, which represent a nation's comprehensive strategy for reducing emissions and adapting to climate-related challenges. The president's remarks were conveyed by Ishaq Salako, the Minister of State for Environment, who further explained that Nigeria's energy transition plan necessitates a total investment of $1.9 trillion spanning up to 2060. The World Bank Country Director for Nigeria, Shubham Chowdhury, has said that public spending in Nigeria is the lowest globally. Speaking at the annual Banking and Finance Conference in Abuja on Tuesday, Chowdhury said low revenues are a key risk to fiscal and debt sustainability. He emphasized that for Nigeria to achieve steady growth and prosperity, both federal and state governments must take critical steps to ensure the country's security, political stability, and the rule of law.
Frankly, Nigeria, Africa's giant, has not lived up to its potential, and we all know that. We call this Nigeria at a critical juncture, charting a new course, and the role of the financial services industry. For those of you who may have seen some of our presentations, reports over the past 3 years, until this June, it used to be Nigeria, the need to chart a new course, or time for business unusual. So let me just begin by just stating that this really is, the bold steps that were taken just on the first day, May 29, have really set the stage for Nigeria to begin to realize its true potential. Over the last 3 years, our board has approved over, I think, $10.5 billion in concessional financing for Nigeria. But really, my aspiration has always been that we will be seen as trusted partners here to help Nigeria achieve the kind of potential it has.
We'll take a short break here and return with the stock market report. Do stay with us. The Nigerian bourse furthered its southward journey, which began on Wednesday ahead of the outcome of the Presidential Election Petition Court's judgment. On Thursday, the markets declined to 0.3%. Now, investors booked a loss of 112 billion naira at the close of trading, with market breadth closing low with 26 gainers and 30 losers. Our bottom losers, Morrison Industries, came out last with an end-of-day price depreciation of 9.89%, followed by Portfield Business Solutions. Now, Thursday's data, however, shows 53% improvement in turnover and 6% improvement in deals. Now, world stocks are mixed for a third straight day on Thursday. Now, save for the Japan's Nikkei stocks, which traded low at 0.75%. The UK's FTSE and US Dow Jones had bulls run. That's the stock market report. Back to you, Mary.
Many thanks to Mr. La for the update. Central Africa's mediator for Gabon and the country's new military ruler have agreed to draw up a roadmap for restoring democratic rule following a coup last week. The Economic Community of Central African States had earlier in the week sent its envoy, Central African Republic President Faustin Touadéra, to Libreville for talks with General Brice Nguema. The oil-rich African country joins Mali, Guinea, Sudan, Burkina Faso and Niger, which have undergone military coups in the last 3 years, a trend that has sounded alarm bells in the continent and beyond. In sports, the Professional Footballers Association has announced the creation of a football brain health fund to assist former players and their families who have been impacted by dementia and other neurodegenerative conditions. The creation of the fund is supported by the English Premier League. The association adds that an initial amount of £1 million will be made available immediately to provide discretionary financial support to former players and their families to help improve the quality of life. That's the size of our news bulletin. Thank you for watching. I am Mary Kanu. Bye for now.